6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shelby's World Live taking off. Questions will be answered cause the queen get it off. Unity is for the black and brown community. Conversation without scrutiny. Hey, we speak from a place of power, no coward. We just making sure the truth isn't overpowered. Black goddess, black queen, no in between. Radio podcast to the big screen. Her smile is everything, can light up a room. She say what she means, that's why we're in tune. Grown woman handles her biz like it is. Discipline, a role model for the kids. Nothing was given, everything she earned. She sat back and learned, and now it's her turn. So stop on by, comment, subscribe. Each and every Wednesday, SW Live.
Shelby's World Podcast.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? What's up, my people? Happy Wednesday. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? How y'all living? How y'all loving? All that good stuff. Welcome to another episode of SW Live. We are in the building as usual. It is Wednesday, and today is the 8th of October, honey. We are deep into Libra season. Yes, we are. Major shout out to those Libras as they celebrate another year of life ahead for them. So Libra season, baby. But welcome to another episode of SW Live. Welcome back. Happy to have you. To love you, embrace you, and be here with you. I appreciate you all the time. I promise you I do. I promise you. So thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for being a part of today. And we got a good show for you. We're going to talk about, are you a good partner? And since you're watching the show and you're not literally sitting in my face and on air, you can actually have the opportunity to be honest with yourself. And if we're talking about things that you feel like you may need to improve upon, or things that you just didn't know that you could probably implement in your relationship, let's gather some of those thoughts and think about them, and because we can envelop them into our day-to-day. We can if we're willing to want to do the work to make us a better person to the person that we want to love forever. We can, right? All right. So that's what's being a good partner is about, making sacrifices and things for your partner just like they do for you. And it's just it's not easy for a lot of people. I guess that's why we even having this topic or this discussion, because it isn't easy for a lot of people for them to be able to be cooperative and learn to be cohesive with each other. And it's hard for a lot of people to do that. It's hard for a lot of people to even, just accept their person for some of the things that they have to accept them for. They feel like if it don't fit me, it's not right. It's a lot of people who feel like even if they're not who I want them to be, then it won't work. And if that's the case, you probably shouldn't even be with that person anyway, because it's not their job to be who you want them to be. It's not. It's just not how it works. But you do have in the dating stages have the opportunity to be very, very picky with who you want to choose to be your person. You have that opportunity. But you just, you have to also be understanding that that person may be the same way. They may have the thought that they need to be just as picky with you, and you're going to have to be understanding. You're going to have to be understanding, right? You can't just think that it's okay for you to have your do's and don'ts and then they don't have theirs. Okay. So yeah, we're going to talk about that today. Quote of the day. Let me bring that up on the screen for y'all so y'all can see that. Okay. Quote of the day. It is only when we no longer compulsively need someone that we can have a real relationship with them. This right here, this quote really, really is one of those quotes that made me feel like, dang. Because it just says so much in such a little sentence. It says a lot. Hello, Miss Ariel. What's going on? Thank you for tuning in, dear. Howdy, howdy. That is definitely one of those quotes that will like have you like, oof. You know, it is. It's one of those because it says strictly this. It is only when we no longer compulsively need someone that we can have a real relationship with them. Because you know how many people go into relationships in need? In need. It happens. That is something that people are no longer afraid to do. And so when you go into the relationships where you're depending on someone, then that's a level of control that a person gets to have on you. But when you go into a relationship being completely free of any need, this relationship is something that you want, something that you're willing to do because that's something that you want to do. When you're like that in your relationship, it's different. It's different. So you can't really value a person, and we will try. But if we know that if we and this is and a lot of times, let me say this first before I jump into say that. A lot of times we don't know that we're being that way because we don't know that a person is really relying upon us for certain things. And it's not always a financial thing. So that's why you got to have everything in order on a level for you to be in a relationship. We should not even be in like relationships where we like struggling in relationships with ourselves before we even do real things now. And that, you know, what we did as a kid, some things happened differently, and some of those relationships sustained and they made it through and they are thriving. But a lot of times that's not the case. It's not the case all the time. So you have to go through the growing pains of seeing it. So it's not like, oh, because you had to go through the growing pains, you don't deserve to see it. But to have that cohesiveness, to get back on track, to have that cohesiveness with someone, going into a relationship with two healed people makes everything all the better. And a lot of times you have to go through things to kind of get to a level of healing. You have to actually have a person treat you away before you are going to say, this is, I need to go and get that help. You won't do it based on just traumatic experiences that you've already had in your life. You do it when somebody has broken your heart, or things go sour in a marriage, or things go sour in a baby situation. Like that's when things when people really go to therapy for those reasons. If we just started off trying to go to therapy and getting ourselves taken care of before we even had to suffer through those reasons, it would be different. But life hasn't thrown you that angle to do it. Wasn't that angle wasn't available to a lot of people, wasn't afforded to a lot of people. So now you had to go through the growing pains, and you had to get to the point of knowing that we've all been in relationships where we've had a need. Whether that need was we needed emotional support, mental support, physical support, financial support. There has always been people in relationships where they have had a need. And that's because they haven't learned how to live with getting themselves that help first before they got into that relationship. Because you ain't look at it as if that's a real need. That's just, you just that are dwindling, diddying through life. So you're not looking at it as if, okay, just because I've had this type of breakup, or if I've experienced this level of this, or this level of discomfort, or this level of idiocracy, I realize I need to go get some help. No, we'll be like, okay, I won't deal with that type of stuff anymore. Let's move on. And then move on. And then you taking all that baggage from this past relationship that you did not learn to unpack and be free of into the next relationship. And then you're creating unsustainable relationships where they're unhealthy, just really, really unhealthy relationships. One after the other. What's up, Candace? Hello there, darling. Hello. one after the other. They're just literally one after the other type relationships. So we got to get past that. And so we're going to talk about today how to do that, because as we continue to age and embark on different journeys, just because we're in relationships don't mean that we're doing everything in our relationships correctly. So we're just going to talk a little bit about what can make us a good partner. Am I a good partner already? How can I improve on my partner skills, and et cetera, et cetera. So many of us have selfish traits that we bring into a two-party situation and will downright believe that our traits make us a sustainable partner. They don't. Your traits represent who you are individually, and there are traits that you have individually, however, that will help you determine if you could be a good partner. So all the traits that you have that you've been living with a selfish, just for me type thing, doesn't mean that you can't expound upon those traits in a relationship, because all it's basically saying is that you're just needing to know how to use your individual traits as a together role. You know what I'm saying? It can happen. And that's what makes you, when you start to embrace your partner and start to embrace yourself with the same things, and you're willing to accept the both of y'all in that same aspect, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Then that means that you're allowing yourself to be free of selfishness. You've dropped this. That selfishness doesn't exist for you. You've worked on that. You moved past it. Kudos. Pat yourself on the back. Okay. So we're going to, first and foremost, these are a few traits that let you know if you are embarking on good partnership. The first one is active listening. Your partner shows genuine interest in your thoughts and feelings, and they maintain constant eye contact with you too. And if you're not able to stand, because y'all both moving around in the house talking and everything, and you're not doing the eye to eye thing, that doesn't mean you're not having active listening. Y'all are both listening, as long as y'all are replaying that conversation every time y'all respond with each other. It's just compromising. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. The biggest part of partnership is having a cohesive understanding, being compromising. Being able to just be like, you know what? You're right, babe. You're right, babe. I'm sorry. I apologize. Taking accountability. Because that's a lot of what it is. Most of the time, the arguments are even there because y'all are disagreeing on something. It's a disagreement that's causing that. Okay. So and it's a part of active listening. You're compromising results, and if you heard your person right just as well, because you're showing genuine interest in them. You're responding in a thoughtful manner. You're not just like, well, that's dumb. You're not just doing it that way. All right. Emotional support. You and your partner share a deep emotional bond. You guys feel comfortable discussing your fears and dreams without fear of judgment. And I'm going to play this quick little video about this, and because that's exactly what I wanted to get to with the emotional support and the active listening, boiling down to the compromising portion. I have a video to play for you guys of a young woman that's explaining why most of the time a lot of people aren't good partners. And she did a conversation on good partnership as well. Hold 1 second. Let me get it playing for y'all.
We have it in our head that we need to be with someone. So much of our value is tied into our relationship status. But at the same time, we get into relationships and we're stubborn. We can't communicate properly. We're not good at conflict resolution. We're really quick to shut down. We can be argumentative, holding on to the fact that we're right, not knowing when to pick our battles and let things go. Maybe we're combative. The list goes on and on. I like the idea of having someone there, but when it came to putting the work in to make things successful, I lack the skills to do that. We have it in our head that we need to be with someone. So much of our value is tied into our relationship status. But at the same time, we get into relationships and we're stubborn. We can't communicate properly. We're not good at conflict resolution. We're really quick to shut down. We can be argumentative, holding on to the fact that we're right, not knowing when to pick our battles and let things go. Maybe.
All right. See, yeah. So a lot that's one of the biggest things that happens when you're dealing with relationships in general is that we all feel like we're good people in relationships. We all feel like we're good partners in relationships, but we're combative, we're stubborn, we get into a mode of not wanting to do just because that person wants to and you don't want to do it, so you causing an issue. It's a lot of things that lets you know that you're not in the relationship that you think that you're in. And when that person is telling you that this is happening, and you're ignoring the fact that they're telling you that, and you're not changing anything about yourself as they tell you that, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, so that active listening, emotional support, honesty. You're both open and honest with each other, and that's crucial for establishing trust in your relationship. That's what lets you know also if you're a good partner. Respect for people's boundaries. Your partner respects your individuality and your boundaries, and allowing for a healthy dynamic, because respecting each other's boundaries, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. It doesn't just come with the fact that you're like saying, oops, excuse me, I'm in your space, or you're in my, no, it's not just that. It goes with a lot of things, friendships, entertainment situations, anything outside of you, just you and your partner. Those are additional boundaries as well. So we have to have we have to have the mentality of being expecting that our partner will have lives outside of us, and you have to respect those boundaries. As long as those boundaries are respectful boundaries, there shouldn't be a reason why a person should be a full-grown adult shouldn't be able to be an adult. But we feel like, we get into these relationships and we become parents over people. Absolutely not. Cultivate your trust. Make sure that trust gets to a higher level. And if you are one of those people who feel like you got to question everything your person is doing, I hope they never go into marrying you. Because if that's happening in the relationship, the marriage is damned from jump. Because you're going into the relationship with all this negativity anyway. So how would you think that the marriage is gonna not be full of negativity if a person, that's all they're showing you from in the relationship? And we say that Siobhan said it's just compromising. We say it's just compromising. So many people don't know how to compromise. Y'all be so used to just getting y'all way. And you right about this. What it starts with is what it'll end with. So if it starts with a bunch of lies, it's going to end with a bunch of lies. If it starts with a bunch of drama, it's going to end with a bunch of drama. If all these things are happening in the beginning of the relationship, they can damn sure happen in the end. They really can. And this, yes, because that compromising thing is baffling for a lot of us at first, because it's like, okay, you're okay with it because you feel like it's cool to be able to compromise. Now you're being thrown in situations that you never would have thought you had to compromise with or about, or just now you questioning stuff. You know what I'm saying? You embrace the positives that come in your relationship. The humility, the resilience, and the humor, it helps to strengthen your bond. And it also contributes to a long-lasting relationship, because you're creating a place of comfort for each other, where that person can be themselves when they're with you. You can be yourself when you're with them. It should never have to be a form of like not feeling like I can't just be me. If I gotta wake up the next day and start feeling like I gotta question how I can act in front of you or what I can do in front of you, that's not gonna work, baby. So I want to say, because the last show we talked about, are you dating a person's representative? I want to say that you're going to, in the beginning, you may get people's representatives, right? But as y'all continue to start, date, and y'all start getting more into each other and learning each other a little bit more, you'll start to get the real person, right? But my question is, for the people, is when you start to get the real person and you start to see exactly who you're dealing with, do you feel like because you do you feel like because you have given yourself the thought that this could be the person for you, that you're going to just deal with everything that you've seen thus far because you don't want to just start over? Have we fully gotten to that point now? Because I've heard it now. I've heard a lot of people say, my compromising could be a whole lot different. I could just really, it's a lot of things I could just deal with. I'm willing to stretch myself as far as I can to make sure that my man's satisfied. So how do y'all feel about that? Like, does your level of compromise come with stress and red flags involved? Are you willing to accept that? Because a lot of us will say we not, and we be in a whole relationship full of red flags. A full-blown relationship. A full-blown relationship with red flags. And continuing to be in that relationship. So, and that's my question to everybody now, is like, are we willing to make that compromise to where we are willing to say, I can ignore a few red flags because I'm tired of not having someone? Have we gotten to that point yet? Have we gotten to that point of where a lot of people are doing that beyond what we already know? Anyway, but I'm interested in that because like I said, a lot of people say that they won't do that, but in actuality, they will date people who got red flags. Are y'all willing to compromise the red flags before you even get into the relationship? Because you can see some of those red flags up front. Are you willing to ignore them because you don't want to be alone? Just peachy pea beauty on the lips. Yeah, but so I think that I'm interested in that because that I've seen it happen. So I want to know what y'all thought. I think people stay in that situation just because they're comfortable. There we go. I do that's another reason I said too, sisters, that they do get into these relationships and stay because it's a comfortability to them, but the red flag to them may not be that terrible. It just may not be that terrible to them, and it may not be something that they're willing to throw their whole relationship away for. It may, and there's no judgment for that at all, because you do what makes you comfortable in your relationship. You that's your benefit or your loss, whatever. It's on you to do it. But if you see things that aren't going to be actively changing in that relationship based on those red flags, you can't get mad when they don't change. That's the only thing that comes along with dealing with situations that are not up to your standard. That's the outcome of that, because when you decide that you're willing to risk and just look over these couple of things because it's not as bad, or it's not something that will make you break up with this person, but it's gonna have you looking like this. You're gonna be like, when they do it and they done did it, your whole, like, all day, like, you're not happy at all with them. You look at them in a level of disgust just because you've now accepted this and you putting up with it because you decided to deal with it. You got to put up with it. Yeah. So more, just a couple of more things that go along with whether or not you are in a if you are a good partner in your relationship. How you handle your relationship. Do you do long-term planning and plan it with your partner, or do you just plan long-term plans without them? Are they not inclusive of your partner? That lets you know right now if you are a good partner in the relationship. Because if you are one of those people that have been with this person, y'all been together for some time, but you can still make these long-term plans without including them, maybe you're not ready. Maybe not. Just maybe not. Just maybe not. Do you like we spoke about earlier, the boundaries? Do you respect their boundaries as an individual? Do you give them their space? Or are you all up in their business? Like, do they have the opportunity to be free around you so that when they go off and do things without you, it's not a constant blow a person up type thing? I don't know. It's a lot of people that do not believe in that. They will literally try to talk to their partner on the phone the whole way to the event and the whole way from the event, and be darn downright mad when they get off the phone to go into the event. Do you show your partner appreciation? And not just holiday things and traditions, it just everyday moments. Do you tell them thank you a lot? Are you giving them obvious attention that you're paying attention to things that they're doing? Those are things that matter. Though appreciation goes a long way. Appreciation goes a very, very, very long way. And without it, it makes a person feel like they in this relationship, this awkward battle of trying to constantly prove themselves in their partnership. Because they don't know. They don't know if they're doing good. They don't know how their partner feel because they don't ever say nothing. They never say nothing, bro. How do you even be in a relationship with somebody and they're helpful and they're doing stuff for you or doing things with you and y'all growing together, and it's never any I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm happy to have you. People got to choose wisely. Just like they say you got to choose wisely who you have children with, you got to choose wisely who you want to create a life with too. Do you guys share responsibilities of things like chores, finances, and planning? When you get to a level of trust like that, you're in a healthy relationship. So that's also will make you a good partner if you're willing to compromise on letting somebody else in on those things. Those variances like chores, finances, and having long-term planning instills in that person that you're serious about this relationship. You're serious about this opportunity to be with them and grow with them and implement a life together. You're showing that, and they appreciate it. They want that. So that's another good thing. That's another possibility that you are being a good partner, because you're willing to share those responsibilities now. How you respond when your partner is stressed or upset is another key determination in if you are showing good partnership skills. Are you comforting them? Are you the type to avoid them just because you don't know how to respond? Are you the type that'll help sometimes, but you get overwhelmed with things, so you're not a good person to pull in that situation. Are you that type? And if you're not, then at least what you want to do, what you want to find out from your partner is what keeps them comfortable in certain situations, so you can go ahead and ask them that, and you don't have to worry about trying to figure out if you're stressing them, because you don't know what it is that you need to do to comfort their stress levels, especially if it's something that y'all having conversations about and they don't feel like they're being heard. A person not feeling heard is one of the worst things that can happen in your relationship, because you're literally sitting up there trying to figure out if they care enough about what you're saying that they're willing to take that into consideration. And if they're not, and if it's not happening, they don't care. Because we can't say we care and we don't do nothing to change it. So how do you handle disagreements when they get heated? How are you the type of person that shuts down? Oh, same thing about, she got a question about that. Yes. What about the type that shuts down when they're stressed? And that's what we're actually about to say, when things happen or they get stressed and they shut down. For those particular people, learn it from the beginning whether or not it's something you can deal with, because that is, some people shut down can go for days. It don't just go for hours or time for them to like breathe and let it go. It don't work like that for them all the time. A lot of people who shut down, they will shut down physically, mentally, and everything for that whole day, and they don't want to be bothered and talk to you. And the only thing you could do is give them their space. But also, if they get to a point where they're not even coming, they don't want to come out of the room, go check on them, go make sure they're okay. But definitely give them their space until they say that they're ready to actually talk about it. Then you guys, it's not going to be a good conversation, because then they're going to feel forced. So trying to get them to talk about something they've already shut down about is not going to happen. It's not going to be an easy thing to do. So give them time to cool down. And most of the time, the person who does shut down, they'll be the one that comes back and want to try to talk. But you do have to give them that opportunity to. If they don't do that, it's okay to bring it up at a later time, but at least give them their time to get through their moment about it, because maybe it was something that triggered them, or if it's something that they just don't want to take accountability on, then you're still in trouble anyway with the situation. But for the most part, if a lot of times when people shut down, it's because they're getting triggered. And that trigger can really cause a person, when you know that this is something that they've been through, and you may not have known it, but you'll find out when they're ready to talk about it. So don't push the issue when a person shuts down. And that's the same way you kind of handle things when things get heated. When it gets heated, just be like, you know what, we don't want to, I'm going to just put the whole conversation to the side, because this seems to be bothering you way more than I would have thought it would have, because, obviously I wouldn't have brought this to the table if I felt like it was going to make you blow up. But those are, like I said, those are things you need to watch and study in the beginning too, because a lot of those things could be they lead into a lot of negativity in the relationship, and it's just going to be very unhealthy. Do you make a effort to express physical affection? Do you know how to show love? Do you focus on the physical affection that works for you and that person, or just something are you just doing something to try to calm them? All right, how does your physical affection towards your partner infuse making them feel better? You know what I'm saying? Because like the affection shouldn't just be like a sexual thing. Affection boils down to intimacy as well. And intimacy is not just sexual. Intimacy is on different levels, like you giving your person a massage, a foot massage, a rub down, just comforting them, hugging them. Anything that requires you to do something on an intimate level with or for them is more so what we're talking about when we're talking about the physical affection. We're not just talking about sexual affection. You know, y'all, we know that y'all doing that because it's you in the relationship. But that physical affection that actually keeps a person comfortable with you, yearning for you, needing you, is what I'm talking about. If you don't have a good level of physical affection for your partner, especially if they're a physical touch person, you may not be a good partner for them. And especially if they've told you that kind of bug is that just flew past, like a mosquito or something, but a big. Oh gosh. I gotta kill that before you get one of us. But if they've told you that they desire physical affection from you and you completely act as if that you don't know anything about what it is to give affection, you better speak up about that. Because again, these are things that a person is learning about you while y'all in the dating stages. Don't go into no full throttle relationship and this person ain't never shown you no physical affection and you trying to get into this full-blown relationship with this person and you know they're not touchy-feely. Y'all barely hug each other. And you good with that? You gonna go into a relationship with that? No. Please don't, because you really gonna be harming yourself. You really are. Do you feel safe and vulnerable with that person? That type of resilience in a relationship from the partner who gives that comfort of being vulnerable and open and safe with their person. When you find you someone that actually makes you feel that way, you've never heard again what you've ever mentioned to them. They don't throw it in your face. They're not holding it against you. They're not holding you hostage with it just because you shared this very, very valuable information about yourself that you would have never shared with anybody else, and you shared it with your person, and they have kept it between their two ears, nowhere past it. When you get to that level of comfort, it's beneficial. If you're not providing that level of comfort, you're not being a good partner. That type of stuff matters, bro. Like it goes well beyond how a person looks. It goes well beyond how fine a person is, how sexy a person is, how beautiful a person is, how cute a person is. It goes well beyond all those things because you have to settle down and lay and love on this person even after y'all lay there and have sex and you done came. Now you turn over and see that person and you just unhappy looking over at that person. Make good choices. Make good choices. I'm telling you, make good choices because it's not gonna be pretty all the time. It's not gonna be pretty all the time. It's really not. So knowing that a relationship is gonna have its ups and downs, its lefts and rights, its norths and souths, be prepared to know that if you dating somebody who ugly, they're only gonna get uglier as y'all get older, uglier. So it don't matter about the looks and the body and stuff as y'all age. What matters is that test of loyalty. Can a person be there for you? Can a person give you that affection that you need, that intimacy level that you need, that trust, that just that all that good partner stuff that makes y'all whole, that made y'all whole relationship. That now that when you get old, you now need each other's balance. Now it's a difference then, you know. Do you feel like your partner can depend on you physically and emotionally, even just outside of anything else? If they're having to be vulnerable in a situation that happened with them at work, with their family, can they depend on you to be there for them, listen to them, give them comfort and reassurance? When they have achievements, are you a celebratory person? Are you a cheerleader for them? Are you constantly celebrating them? Are you constantly being celebrated? Those are really big deals in knowing whether or not you're a good partner, because you cannot be a good partner and be hating on the side. You cannot. You just cannot be that. Do you feel like you make your person a priority? Are they a priority? Do you genuinely enjoy spending time with your person and create memories and happy go lucky times where y'all be like, this our spot, this what we like to do? All that stuff matter. Okay, so moral of the story is this. Moral: being in a relationship is more than just about love. It's about trust, respect, effort, emotional connections. And everyone wonders at some point, am I really being the kind of partner my significant other deserves? And if you've ever questioned whether or not you're supportive enough, if you're attentive enough, if you're simply a good partner overall, you're not alone. Many people have that aspiration to be good. Many people have that aspiration to give the love that they desire. Sometimes it boils down to them just not being ready to be in that type of relationship, because they're not willing to actually step back and say, I'm willing to release being all of me so that I can be all of we. If the person you're dating does not feel like it's a we status, then more than likely and more than none, you are in a relationship with someone who has definitely chosen to always put them first. That doesn't make you a good partner. If you're not willing to make sacrifices and compromises and constantly be reassuring in your relationship of making sure that y'all love each other and y'all value each other, and that you're willing to always be their shoulder when times are needed for you to be their shoulder, you're not a good partner. Take a step back, reevaluate, and see if you're ready for that, because that's long-term commitment type stuff. And if you're not ready for it, then don't waste somebody's time. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. As always, I love y'all and appreciate y'all. And I appreciate y'all time. All right. See y'all next week. We got our resident guy coming through, Mr. Brandon. He gonna come talk with us on a good topic that we have on the menu for next Wednesday. So y'all make sure to tune in. But y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Enjoy the rest of y'all week. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves. And don't forget to love yourselves. All right. Peace.
6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shelby's World Live taking off. Questions will be answered cause the queen get it off. Unity is for the black and brown community. Conversation without scrutiny. Hey, we speak from a place of power, no coward. We just making sure the truth isn't overpowered. Black goddess, black queen, no in between. Radio podcast to the big screen. Her smile is everything, can light up a room. She say what she means, that's why we're in tune. Grown woman handles her biz like it is. Discipline, a role model for the kids. Nothing was given, everything she earned. She sat back and learned, and now it's her turn. So stop on by, comment, subscribe. Each and every Wednesday, SW Live.